I found an old iPhone in my cupboard when I was cleaning it out earlier. It's an iPhone XS. It's not one that I use anymore. Didn't even know if it would work, so I plugged it in, reset it, downloaded an app, and now we're going to go see if it's any bloody good for taking some long exposure photos. Let's go have a look. Regular viewers of the channel know this location. This is Cow Swamp. I come here to do some long exposure photos because I'm not really spoilt for choice in my location for long exposure stuff during the daytime. There's a nice bit of water out here. There's a little bit of rain coming. The clouds are moving a little bit. It's not too windy. It's windy enough that you might be picking it up on the microphone, but there's a little bit of movement in the water, and that's what we want to try and close down with some long exposure photos. iPhone XS, I've got even longer loaded onto here. It's sitting on the Explorer tripod with the phone holder I got from Explorer, and it's a bloody good setup, I've got to tell you. Anyway, we'll look for a better composition and we'll take a photo. Let's talk about today's video sponsor, which is Synco. How does the audio sound here today? Because I'm using a product that these guys sent me, the Synco P1. It's a mobile phone 2.4 gigahertz wireless microphone, lapel microphone. It's sitting underneath my jacket right here. You can't hear the wind, and you should be able to hear me still pretty well. The kit comes with one clip-on wireless transmitter with a built-in microphone, a device-mountable receiver. It comes in two different sorts, an Android one, which is a USB-C, and of course the iPhone one. They're actually numbered a little bit different, so make sure you get the right one for your phone. It all packs up into a nice little box. Both of those parts go into that box, clips in there, close it up, plug it in, and that's how it charges. 5 hours charge will give you about 15 hours of talk time. It says that on the documentation this has a range of 150 meters line of sight. That's incredible. And it's got roughly 50 meters, I think it is, when you've got obstacles in the way. All you need to do is put your lapel microphone on, plug the receiver into the phone. I just use the camera app. In fact, I'm using the camera app right now talking to you with this system. It has active noise cancelling technology in it as well, so in a windy day like it is today, well, right now I've probably set it up to be as loud as I can with the wind. So how does it sound? This is a much better composition. I've got some foreground elements here that you can see in the foreground. The sky is doing a little bit of movement, so we probably want a longer exposure than even a minute. I'm going to go up to 2 minutes. I'm not going to worry about saving intervals or anything like that. I'm not going to do any bracketing. I'm just going to leave it all pretty stock standard, but leave it on frame averaging. Frame averaging is very important to for this sort of photo. We're not talking about star trails, we're not talking about light trails, just talking about movement in the photo. I'm going to leave the timer on there. I think it's a 5-second time. We'll let that go and we'll take a photo. While that's taking the photo, let's have a look over here. We've got some pelicans sitting over here. Let's have a look at this photo now. It's a RAW file. With this app, and with many apps in fact that shoot RAW, if you don't find the photo in your photos gallery, in your photos app, just have a look in your files. There'll be an even longer folder in there. It'll have the photos in there if it's not in the photo gallery. But that looks bloody awesome. There's more movement in that cloud than what I thought there was. Let's try another one. Got a slightly different composition here right now. I'll open up even longer and we'll go in that tree just over here. There's some galahs in that tree, and I might just go into the focus, and it brings up the magnifying glass there, brings up more of your photo there, and you can adjust the focusing manually. I think that's about as sharp as we're going to get on this phone. Just moved it again. It's a little bit temperamental on this older machine, older phone, and I'll hit the shutter and wait and see what happens. You might wonder why on earth I'm doing this with an old phone. It was actually inspired by one of the members of the Bloody Legends photography group over there on Facebook. Andy Green is a guy over in the UK, does a lot of long exposure stuff with older phones. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put a link down the bottom there to the Facebook group, and he uses an iPhone 7 to get these sorts of photos. Here's some inspiration for you. There is a saying in the photography world of gear acquisition syndrome. It means you're buying all the new shit that you don't really need when the old stuff that you've got can do the job just fine. This is a perfect example of that. What I'm going to do now that this phone's finished, I'm going to use the iPhone 13 Pro Max, use even longer app as well, and then I'll put the different photos up and I'll see if you can spot the difference. In fact, I'll take a few photos of a few different things, 2 different phones, see if you can tell the difference. Now, how do they compare? I reckon they compare pretty bloody well. There's obviously a little bit of a difference with the newer stuff versus the older stuff as far as the phones go. The app does a bloody good job, even longer app. Fantastic job for doing this sort of photography. It does other sort of stuff as well, the star trails and light trails and things like that. And it does it really, really well. In fact, it's probably the best long exposure app for getting nice colours in the stars that I've ever used. It's a bloody ripper app. So head over to Shane Mostyn Mobile Photography Bloody Legends Facebook group. You can go and see some really, really creative people over there with long exposure photography, all from phones. And you'll see some of Andy's stuff over there as well. Andy Green, the guy who actually inspired this video when I found this phone in my shed. Anyway guys, that's it for today. I'll catch you later.